What's that noise?
It's a pigeon. Oh. What else could it be?
I don't know.
I want you to just guess all the things. Ahoo.
Well, I couldn't hear that well.
What else could it be?
We love making. I don't know.
Right outside
love
the
making.
window.
Is that
know.
what you sound like when you come?
Ooh.
And Nicole's like, already? Welcome to The Downside. My name is Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my co-host, Russell Daniels.
Hello.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
We are joined today by a guest where, I'll be honest,
Oh, no.
I was excited because I thought you had recently been divorced.
He was so excited
And-
to dive into that negative.
And I was already, I was like, I should ask him up front. Like, is it okay to talk about it on the podcast? But he talks about it on stage.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
But you're already here.
I know.
So we don't have another guest in the wings. Please welcome stand-up comedian Ismael Loutfi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Not
yes.
divorced.
Yes.
Not divorced.
Almost, but not quite.
Wow.
How?
Not quite.
I was, you know what? I had this whole plan. Sometimes I have little jokes where I was gonna say, "This is my plan." So let's just act out what I was gonna do and pretend this is before you got back together.
Yeah, great.
Ismael, I to prepare for this, I watched your Comedy Central half hour.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about, my God, getting married right before the pandemic. How's the marriage going?
Well, it's it's dead. It's dead and buried, and I'm really happy.
This is The Downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. Downside. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
Well, that was the episode you guys could have had. But
Wait, this is better. I'm back together, and I'm sad.
Yeah.
Sure,
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
wait, now
No, not really. She's gonna watch this.
this is gonna be.
Everything's good. We're fine.
You know what? I had this thought where I said, like, you, like me, you like talking about your life on stage in a way where I almost was like, is it my responsibility to be like, Ismael, don't talk about this. If you got back together, don't talk about it.
On stage, like you'd have to tell me not to be doing jokes about it.
Or even now in this podcast.
Yeah.
But that other part of me, that really like slimy part is like,
Yeah.
tell me everything.
No, I know. I don't know. It's fucked up to get divorced. So
Oh, I know. Well, so
Not-
I have divorced parents. So,
Yeah.
so
You were on the brink.
we were on the brink. We were separated for 2.5 months.
Okay.
And like living separately, kind of, and cohabitating once in a while when we had to be in the apartment together. And then
this is your first marriage, yes?
No, this is my second.
Okay.
marriage.
Even
I've been
better.
married
Oh,
before.
okay.
So just so you know, Russell's still on his first.
Yeah.
Oh, you're married?
Still on my first.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to think how long. 7 years. 7 years.
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
it Is this boring?
No, I have fun with it. You know, I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
Okay.
We do different things. Do you do different things or no? Or is she a comedian as well?
She's not a comedian. Oh, we do. Oh, do like occupation? Yeah, she's a grad student.
Oh,
She's-
okay.
Yeah, studying labor law. So she's
Okay.
Wants
And
to
you've been married how long? You said right before the pandemic.
Yeah, 3 years. 3
Okay.
years.
How long did you date before that?
4 months.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah.
Quick.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Why? Sorry to jump right in.
You're romantic.
Hey, jump into it.
Are you a
No,
romantic
I
or are you?
am. I'm a
Really?
I can
fool.
tell.
I'm
4
a fool
months?
for
Are you
love.
kidding me?
Yeah. And
4
my-
months?
4 months, and not just 4 months. 4 months after
Yeah.
a divorce already.
Because he's a
Yeah.
romantic.
Why?
Well,
What's
first
the rush?
divorce was 10 years ago. I was 17. I was a kid.
Okay. All right. So, Ismael Loutfi, a very funny stand-up comedian. We've worked together before, and you grew up in Florida,
Yeah, North Florida.
North Florida. So,
sir.
why did you get married at 17?
Religious reasons. I was a very devout Muslim boy. Still am. Muslim man.
Is getting married young in all religions? Is it
Sex,
the same?
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's for sex. And I mean, Islam is actually very strict about it. Like, you're not allowed to be alone in a room with a woman if you're not married or like in the family with her. Like, even some people won't have cousins of the opposite sex in the same room because a lot of cultures do cousin marriage. You're
Now,
Jewish.
is this-
You're Jewish. You know this.
I know. My
you know the
my
cousin
girlfriend.
marriage. Come on.
No, my girlfriend. When she went on, she talked about having to test for like the genes to make sure there's no.
Oh yeah,
that
Tay-Sachs.
Tay-Sachs, yeah.
That's a rough one.
But
I saw a documentary about Tay-Sachs when I was 9 years old, and I cannot get it out of my mind. It's fucked up. What
Is
that
it
disease does
within
to-
the Muslim community as well?
Absolutely not.
And-
No.
Oh no.
No.
Is there a less cousin hooking
There's
up?
I think it's not a matter of there's less cousin hooking up. I think there's just more cousin hooking up among the Jewish community.
Yeah.
Because there's less of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you do it,
yeah.
it's more
Jewish cousins are
percentage-wise,
sexier.
Yeah,
per
Jewish
capita.
cousins are pretty hot. I'll say that. They're pretty hot.
Does that boy girl thing? Is it only like around puberty, or is it even when you're a kid?
Puberty,
Okay.
yeah. Once you start having to pray and having to wear hijab and do like the grown up things, then suddenly your like sexuality it's a go.
Does the hijab is it connected to having a period or a certain age?
No, I mean, yeah, kind of. Like technically, I think once you have your period, you're supposed to, according to conservative Muslims.
Uh-huh.
But some people, a lot of Muslim women don't wear hijab and are practicing.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is there a name for like Orthodox? There's Orthodox Judaism.
Yeah.
Are there names like
yeah,
that, or were
yeah.
you just practicing?
No. There's different delineations and ways to look at it. My family, we're not that. We're not like Salafi. That's the term. A Salafi is like a hardcore conservative Muslim. They're the ones you see on the train with the beard. Sometimes it's dyed red.
Orange.
And they have orange, yeah, or they have
Really?
like a dress on.
I don't think I've seen a dyed
Have you
orange
been in New York
beard.
You've never
City?
seen a
Or
Pakistani
I thought they
guy
were
with
just
an
going through a
orange
goth
beard?
phase.
No,
You've
no.
never been.
I dyed my hair orange when I was in a goth
Yeah,
phase.
well,
That's why I say
There's,
never seen
there's
that
a
in New
lot
York
of
City?
like fully dyed, like
Yeah.
full.
like orange
Yeah.
or red.
And why?
Well, they do it because
No, Russell, you answer.
yeah, let's
I know. I just knew it happened.
yeah. Go ahead. I'm watching. No, they do it because the Prophet, peace be upon him's friend, had a red beard. So they imitate him. It's kind of bizarre.
Can I ask you? Just said peace be upon him. That's what you say,
Yeah, that's what you got to say.
and you still say it.
Of course, I'm still. I know you're an atheist.
I
I'm a
wouldn't say
believer.
a full atheist.
I'm a believer.
I wouldn't say a full atheist.
I pray 5 times. I pray 4 times a day.
Specific times or just
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Wait, 4? You said 4? You so you're
I
cutting
miss,
one out?
I miss the early. There's one that's at like 4 in the morning. I miss it all the time. You're supposed to pray it.
They're
though.
setting their alarms. They're getting up at 4 in the morning.
yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Fajr prayer.
Okay, so
It's short. It's a short
but
prayer. It's
explain
5
this
minutes.
to me.
Yeah.
You say you're just cutting one out, or you just say,
I know-
yeah, fuck it.
I feel bad. I ask God for forgiveness.
I mean, 4 is better than none.
Thank
if he's a
you.
believer, you know?
And I try it. Sometimes I do 5. Sometimes Ramadan's coming up. Then I'm gonna hit my 5
You
again.
got a late show.
Is it the
home.
same time every day?
Yeah. Well, it moves around, but it's essentially the same.
When's the next one?
what time is it right now?
4.
4. The next one is going to be pretty soon, like 5:15. But
Okay.
I'll delay it. That's the
So you
kind of
can
Muslim
delay
I
it.
am. I'm a little lenient. I'm lenient.
Okay.
What? Oh, no. I'm
I'm just
interested.
because I think I'm
listened-
fascinated
yeah.
with it's like for me, I'm like, well, are you in or are you not?
Yeah, but don't you
I
think-
I'm ultra conservative in the sense of I'm like 4.
No, but don't you think
you
it's the
can't
same
just
thing
do
with-
4?
don't
Why
you
not do
think-
3? Then
I
2?
get it.
Then
Right.
none.
You're
Don't you
right,
think it's
you're
the
right.
same thing as like, okay, in Judaism, when they can't have their hair showing, so they wear wigs. That's a little bit of a going around the
But
way.
that's more like an institutionalized loophole.
But do you know what I mean? Like,
But I see what you're saying.
I'm
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
if you were like really conservative about it, you'd be like, no wigs.
Right.
Cover that head. You know.
My thing is that if you think it's okay to do a little less,
Right.
why do any of it at all?
You're right.
Because
And-
it's probably just ask for a little more forgiveness.
That's true. But the thing is that in Islam,
something out of
there's
it.
a thing called, well, not just that. I don't get anything out of it.
Oh.
The thing, no. In Islam, you have your intention. That's a very big part of the religion. And if your intention is to be doing better, then you're doing better. And that's good for you. And if your intention is to do what you're saying and go, I can do 1 now. And by the way, I've lived my life and done 1 here and there. Like there have
Let me
been
tell
years where I didn't pray more than once a day just because I was lazy or whatever. And now I'm doing better than that, so I feel good.
I've intended to be a good person my whole life, and
Yeah.
I've done jack shit. So
That's not true.
not that much.
You put up a farce. It's weird that this is a
Exactly.
negativity podcast. 'cause
It's,
you're a very happy person.
He's a
From
very
every
happy-
interaction
What are
I've
you
had with
talking-
He's a
you,
very happy,
every
happy,
time
positive
I've
person.
been next to you, you've been glowing.
He hates
You've
this.
only seen me after good sets, then. That's not true. The other day
That's
I saw,
not true. I mean, I've been with you around sets that you thought were good. I ran into you at JFL this year. You were there doing New Faces, or it was 2022.
Yeah.
And I was there just shitting around. They brought me and kicked me to the side. But you were on cloud 9.
It was a good week.
You said it couldn't have gone better. You said this is it for me.
It was a good
you
week.
said some things that I went, uh-oh.
And then the other day I saw you at Sesh, and I said, my Don't Tell set sucked.
Oh, that's
One of
right.
the jokes didn't work. And I laid that on your feet.
Right, you did.
But
But even that's positive because you're so excited and optimistic that the fact that one joke didn't work is like fucking you up. I think there is like inversion there. People who are really negative are actually really positive. And they just put up a front to be negative because
if you could have seen me in the Delta Lounge at 6 a.m. crying on the phone to Tova about how awful my set was.
that's just mental illness. That's just a weak
Yeah.
you're just a weak man.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So I really know so little, so I'm just okay.
Yeah.
You growing up, is there like school? Is there like a Hebrew school equivalent?
there are Islamic schools, but not really in Florida. I went to one for 6 months. I have a whole one-man show I'm doing about it now. I hate myself that I just said that, but I'm doing a show.
No, we were just saying earlier today that there's not enough one-man shows from stand-up comedians.
Actually? Were you actually saying that?
No, we were not saying
Okay.
that.
Well,
Don't bring me into it. I like them.
that hurt me. No, mine is good. Mine is good.
I'm sure it's
Come
good.
to it. You can open. You can do 15, 20 up top, and then I'll do the thing. You
I
can
will
watch it.
happily.
You would love it.
Sure.
It's fun.
I'm sure I will. And it's I don't know anything about it, so that's why I.
So I did go to Islamic school for 6 months, and it was kind of a bad time because I was more religious than all my classmates, and my dad was more religious than everybody, and it was just very alienating. And
But they were somewhat religious.
yeah, they were very ritualistic about it. They treated it like Catholics kind of do.
What was the behavior you exhibited where the kids were like, "Oh boy"?
Yeah. Well, they didn't sound that.
They didn't sound like
They didn't
Jewish?
sound like Jews, but no. Arabs are pretty Jewy actually, but no, they. I wore a kufi on my head every single day from the age of like 7 to 16.
What does a kufi look like?
A kufi looks like a yarmulke, but it covers your whole top of your head.
That's so interesting because
Yeah.
I've always thought the yarmulke, it must have evolved because Jews, we have bald spots,
Right.
and do you just have bigger bald spots?
I guess we do. We just have larger bald spots, probably.
I think it probably looks better
I think it does look better. That's
No offense,
maybe
it does.
It does
Yeah,
look.
yeah. No, I know what you're
because
talking
it's like
about.
a hat.
Yeah.
Are you?
could be a hat.
You're just a white guy, right?
I'm just a white guy.
Okay, so your opinion, I do value it in a weird way. You're a neutral party. You're neutral. But yes, I think it looks better because yarmulke, God bless you, it looks like it's gonna fall off. It just does.
Yeah,
Well-
there's a stressful element to yarmulkes.
I'm like,
that
if-
you're like, oh, a strong breeze.
Yeah.
When we
what
played-
if you trip?
It's a little bit stressful watching it.
When we played in middle school, I played basketball, and we played the Jewish school, and they all had yarmulkes, and you beat them because they'd go to shoot, but then fall off, and they had to prioritize the picking up of the yarmulke over the ball.
Is that true?
Yeah, and so you destroy them, and sometimes you might kind of accidentally graze it off.
Oh, no.
And go boom. Then I would miss the shot, and it would be okay. But
you weren't wearing one.
what?
You weren't wearing one. You
No,
were at the-
I wasn't raised religious
not-
at all.
okay.
My
Yeah, yeah.
girlfriend was
Orthodox,
she grew up
right?
Chabad.
Oh right.
Yes. Which is a sect of Hasidism.
Yeah.
And so she's been indoctrinating me more.
Is she trying to get you into it?
No, I mean she's
she's
just
not-
in the
she's
communal
not into
aspect. She just has like I was doing a Zoom at my apartment, and we have a big picture of the Rebbe over me, and so the
Messiah?
person on the Zoom was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, that's the Rebbe." I guess we have big Jewish figures hanging off the walls now. She has a mezuzah
Yeah.
Yeah.
out there, so she likes that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it, but she has I like the same way I like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
She likes that stuff. It's just it tickles something. She would argue that it's not the same.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
Sure, I can kind of understand that. I like where you're from though. I like your core. There's a depth into you that I think is beautiful because you want things to be real.
I do.
That's what I detect from you.
I do.
You want shit to be real. And so you're kind of like, oh yeah, if you don't actually believe it, it's like Dragon Ball Z.
Sure.
Because you don't actually believe in Dragon Ball Z.
No.
It exists, but it's not.
And you like it.
Real life.
Yeah.
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 But I also, again, I have that thing like I rub up against the title of atheist. Like I'm always like, I'm not really. I still have.
It's so harsh.
You know, I did my homework and I listened to an episode with Jeffrey Asmus,
That's a good one to listen
and
to.
you said that you had a little Bill Maher in you and you wanted to get rid of all religion.
In a peaceful way, not like in an extermination type scenario.
Yeah, okay. That's a great soundbite. If you ever find yourself going in a peaceful way, not an extermination
I think-
scenario.
Listen, I think I can understand the logic behind that, but I also think that human beings will find anything to fill that gap if they need it in their life to like, you know,
Sure, for sure.
to like, you know, like extremists or things or to be a community thing, like whatever, all the umbrella of things. I think that even if you removed it, people would find more cults or I don't know.
Sure,
they'd find
I don't
more
disagree.
things
I don't disagree.
and I mean in the negative and in the positive too, like because you know it offers a lot of positive things for a lot of people too, you know.
Right.
You're not going to have kids. That's your plan.
Yeah.
Are you going to have kids?
Yeah, of course.
So there's this degree where you get to go like, whatever happens, whatever happens. You don't believe, but you don't have to have a kid to make the decision of, do I want to raise this kid with anything? Do I want to teach him religion? So in a way, it's just like you're someone at like the poker table with no chips going in.
Yeah.
You have no stake anymore. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
enjoying the rest of your
Oh,
ride.
you think you're doing this
And-
for your future kids?
No, but I'm
No,
saying
no.
like you get to go like, it is what it is.
Right.
And I'm like, well, some of us have to go like, well, what is it gonna be?
Yeah.
Your line ends with you. Like it's over.
Yeah,
So
no,
it
no,
doesn't
thank
matter.
God.
There's no
Yeah.
belief.
So you're like, yeah, keep the religion
Yeah.
around. Sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect me.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to wipe out every religion. It just seems like a big task for someone to do.
So, okay.
Yeah, the
so
problem with it is that it's a lot of work. It just your laziness is preventing you from.
Yeah.
But you're enjoying it. Like at the age, like, were you enjoying going to services? Like, this is
Yeah.
fun? Was it ever like,
Yeah,
ugh,
I mean,
gotta-
enjoyment. There was an element of enjoying it because I would get out of school early. That was nice. On Fridays, my mom would pick me up at like noon, so not even half the day. So every Friday, I got to go to the mosque instead. That was great. I don't know math very well.
Sure.
I definitely missed lots of lessons.
Yeah.
sure, you
but
keep thinking 4 is 5. It's a real disaster.
yes.
But,
Yes. Prayer callback.
So is there a bar mitzvah, an event as you get older, some kind of celebration?
No. It's just up to your discretion when you're like, I think I'm a man now, and that only
And you announce it?
No, you don't. You don't tell anybody. No,
I'm a
but
man.
This doesn't apply to men. This only applies to girls. Like for guys, you just do whatever. But for girls, once they feel like they're of age, that's when they, in a conservative family, would start wearing the hijab. Yeah.
And they say, they one day come down and say, Mom, I want to buy a shop.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Usually the mom would be like, "All right, I think you're ready."
Is it connected at all? I know you said it's not you get a period and you get it, but it's like around that age. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's around the age of. Well, I guess it applies to men too. That's when you have to start praying too, because before puberty, before you're like an adult, kind of.
Are there any guys at 24 they're still not praying? They're like, I just don't feel like a man quite yet.
That's what I was doing. That's what I was doing when I was like 20. I didn't pray at all when I was maybe 19, 20, 21 because I just didn't think about it. Even though I grew up super religious, for some reason I was just doing stand up, I was doing open mics all the time, and my whole mind was consumed with this bullshit. And I didn't feel, I was like, I'll pray
What
eventually.
age did you start stand up?
18.
18. Okay, so 17,
Yeah.
you meet this gal.
Yeah, little white girl. Yeah.
Was she Muslim
high
as
school.
well?
No. Presbyterian.
And why was she willing to get
Was
married?
she religious, Presbyterian? Like,
She was the way that Christians are.
yeah, okay.
She'll go to service once in a while.
Yeah.
She loves Jesus. But like
Yeah.
she doesn't have it. I mean, this is my belief generally about most Christians, that they don't believe anything. Most Americans don't have any ideology. They believe in nothing, and they're all going to, just go with the wind soon.
Do you think
As China takes over, we're kind of just disappearing. We're an ideology-less nation.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But do you feel like on the whole this is a big general question, more Muslim people believe in it more
Yeah.
than Christian people?
For sure.
Really?
Yeah, without a doubt. without a doubt. Because also Islam is really dictated. Like the things we do in our religion are things that the Prophet Muhammad did and told us to do. And it's documented. And it's documented in a way that's picked apart by the people that are around him. So whenever anyone quotes the Prophet, peace be upon him, they don't just say that it's his quote. They go, this is the Prophet Muhammad as narrated by his friend, blah, blah, blah. So like everything is really, it's just nerdy, like quasi-scientifically reproduced. You know what I'm trying to say? Whereas everything that Christians do has been diluted over 2,000 years to the point where it's like, did Jesus have a band? Did he have a rock band? Like, what is this prayer that you're doing? Not to shit on Christians, even though I'm very...
You can shit on Christians.
You're getting no pushback right
from
now.
us.
But that's how I've always felt about it. And that's the reason I'm saying that is that that's why I think Muslims are more... They practice more than Christians. Because we're doing things... If you believe in Islam, you believe in the Prophet Muhammad. And then you believe what he said specifically to do. Whereas Jesus didn't specifically say to do what's some Catholic weird... The confession. It's not in the Bible.
Sure.
Yeah.
He didn't say to do that. They're all just kind of making it up to be like, he would want us to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to be a Christian kind of means that you're without some direct guidance.
Well, also
which
feels
is
like
why the
there's-
Catholic Church but splitting apart in the 1500s was like a fucking crazy thing.
Yeah.
Because it was like, this was our order, and now Martin Luther comes and says like, actually, the Catholic Church is making all that stuff up. Let me make it. And then they all started making up their own shit.
Yeah. Well, it feels like there's so many more variations of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it feels less serious.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Because you're like,
yeah.
there's Mormonism,
Now, I don't know. I know so little about the Prophet Muhammad that I can...
Peace,
But
peace people.
now, do you want me to say that?
Say it. No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
You see,
No.
but if you did but you could. You could have made Russell say it every time.
Oh,
we
without
said
a
it.
doubt.
By the end of the
I'm not
show,
saying it.
I would have thought it. If I were to talk shit
Yeah.
about the Prophet Muhammad right now, would you be like, stop, please?
No, I wouldn't be like,
Because you're a comedian. That's
that's the conflict.
This is the conflict that I want to discuss. Because, like, okay, for example, I know, someone says the Prophet Muhammad dated quite young.
dated,
went on a
yeah,
couple
he
Tinder
brought
dates
some
with
girls
someone
to
quite
Olive
young.
Garden, and yeah. He had a wife who was very young.
How young?
How young is she?
Mary. Okay, this is what I'm talking about with the different narrations. Different people say different ages. Some people
Say she looked 18.
No. Some people, and it's a very flimsy. It's a very flimsy quote. This means that there's not a lot of people that back it up. Say that she was 6. But the more,
God!
the more. All right, the more.
I thought the flimsy one was going to be like the
No,
bad
no,
one.
no,
It
no,
is-
no, no, no.
I
The
thought
The
it was 12.
qualified ones say that she was 13, 14, and they didn't consummate till she was 16 years old. That's what they say. Which this was the year 600 AD. This is a long time ago. I knew this is where you were going because Shane Gillis, this is like our go-to argument. He will just see me and immediately be like, 9 years old. Like that's the first thing he says to me when he sees me. So I knew you were going there, and it's okay. It's okay.
So when you meet this
How old was he? Maybe if he was 7.
It's not gonna. No, I'm not entertaining this line of questioning.
Okay.
He was quite old.
you're going to find it to be reasonable?
No, I don't know.
This girl you married first, though, she was your age.
Yeah, she was older than me. She was 18.
Okay.
And I was 17. Yeah.
So already not following in Muhammad's footsteps.
Right. That's right.
So you met her. Now, you wanted to get married?
So yeah, I met her and we started we had a friend group that was really cool. It was high school senior year. First time I'd ever had friends. I'd never had friends forever.
Was it hard to have friends with...
Yeah.
I don't even think I grew up in Potomac, Maryland. Maybe one Muslim person in my grade, but certainly not like practicing. I can't imagine what kind of early racism I would have seen if I was praying in the middle of this school. It just wasn't there.
Right, of course. No, yeah, I didn't have any friends, but I think it was more me. I was just very closed off until senior year. I took off the kufi. This is what I was beginning to say 5 minutes ago or whatever. I wore this kufi every single day. Only took it off to take a shower. Like I would wear it all the time. Which,
You have
by the way,
multiples? Did it smell?
No,
You
it
have
was
to
just
wash
one.
it?
It was just one. Wore the same one. And now here's the kicker: is that there's no part of Islam that says you have to wear a kufi every day. It was completely my own innovation of like I need to wear this kufi. It was like an identity thing. It was like my thing.
Yeah.
And I took it off when I was 17, and then I made a bunch of friends. And
Immediately on the playground, they're
yes.
like, hey,
yeah.
want to play
Right,
tag?
The new
right.
kid.
Yes. Immediately, people were like, "Oh, this guy's kind of cool," and I started wearing contact lenses. I was like, "I'm gonna try
wow.
It's like
to
in
be
the-
a guy."
It's
that
like the
actually
nerdy
knows
woman in
people.
the movie who
she's all
takes her
that.
glasses
Yes,
off.
exactly.
But it's the
Takes
Loutfi.
off the kufi.
Yes.
Oh.
Took off the kufi, started making friends, and then there's this girl in the friend group, and everyone liked her. So I was like, "There's no danger in me getting close to her because she's not gonna like me." And then she did like me, and I was like, "Oh fuck, this is complicated now."
What are the rules in terms of are you allowed to kiss? Are you allowed
You're
to?
not allowed to be alone in a room with them. So no, nothing. And we were alone in rooms together a lot. And that's what I mean by I was like, well, we're not going to do anything because she doesn't like me. So it's fine. And then eventually we did start sort of liking each other. And then we kissed a few times. And then I was like, can't go on. We have to do something to make this right. So I told my dad, and he was like, "This is great." He's like, let's get married." He's like, "Let's get you married." And he actually said that it was a reward from God for wearing the kufi all those years. He was like, "This is your reward, is that you get this beautiful woman to marry you."
Okay, so
And then
So
the
wait,
divorce
but
was
why-
punishment for taking it off.
Yeah.
why did she
Yes.
get married so young? Is this just Florida?
No, well, okay. So I have to clarify a few things. It was not a legal marriage; it was a Sharia marriage. So there was no court. We didn't go to court.
Oh,
We just
okay.
had like
Okay.
a little wedding at a falafel restaurant. It was,
In your mind, were you like, I get to have sex
of course,
the moment this is done?
Yeah, of course.
Had you done anything leading up to that? With
Wow.
No.
You're-
We've
you're
been making
dying.
out. Yeah.
I mean, the
God, I
that
remember
urge could make you do anything.
absolutely, and I remember kissing her. It was like a gateway drug because I remember kissing her, and like when I would close my eyes later that night, I would just like see her lips imprinted on the blacks of my eyes.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it drove me crazy.
I just remember. I guess there's no way to not be too graphic, but like just like the first time a woman touched my penis, where it was just like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I came immediately. It was the greatest.
yeah.
I will never feel that level of just.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and it's amazing how, and this is where I get skeptical about all religion.
Yeah.
Where like you bottle that. You take that energy, that young,
Yeah.
not fully brain developed, filled energy,
Cum
and you're
energy.
like, now you get married. Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's genius.
Yeah.
It's a genius way to get people to do what you want them to do.
Right. I think it would probably be better for marriages if none of us had sex ever, though, until we got married. I do kind of get it a lot.
I think
people
nothing would be better or worse. I think it doesn't matter. Marriage is going to be good or
Descartes.
bad, no matter what you do. It's because okay, you wait, and then you're ultimately tricking yourself. Like, oh, I guess the only way for me to feel this is with my wife's pussy. But then you get curious, and you never got to explore. You do explore. Maybe it lets you later on be like, you know what? I've been there before.
Yeah.
It's fun, but then you got to stay in bed with them after. Like you. It's all bad and it's all good, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do. Marriage is not going to get better or worse whether you fuck before or after. It's arbitrary.
I don't know. I think if you fuck a bunch before, it does make it, for guys at least, it makes marriage harder because you know that it's possible to get other ladies.
What do you mean? But by that argument, why are priests fucking? I mean, they've denied themselves sex. All like I'm saying, like people who deny themselves sex in other ways,
Yeah.
still do criminal things.
Well, that's different. That's different though. People who use the church to like mask themselves, that's what they're doing. I think a lot of these. I don't think
Mask themselves, maybe restrain themselves. I mean, who knows? Who knows how many aren't doing? I'm saying,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I think our horniness will lead people to do all sorts of things, whether they had sex before or after. I feel like people.
But so you don't think that society's like overt sexuality in all aspects of it has led to more promiscuity? And for the record, I'm not shitting on promiscuity. I don't want anyone commenting like this guy's like a conservative piece of shit. I'm just saying, generally speaking, we're a very promiscuous society. because in part of the media, et cetera, et cetera.
I think the premise of promiscuity is I think
people
have been
less
cheating.
happy
People
when
have
they're
been cheating
committed.
People have been cheating since the beginning of time.
Of course.
And I would say the problem is the concept of promiscuity. I think ultimately, like, first of all, I don't think there's any good way. I think if we had an open place where everyone was fucking and sucking all the time, you go to the coffee shop, you said, hey, they're cool, hand job, it would still be bad in other ways.
Yeah.
And it would be like abusive in other ways. But you have plenty of societies where it is much stricter and there's still cheating and there's still rape and there's still horrible things that happen with sex. So I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters that if I see Lil Nas X dancing around, I don't think that makes me want to cheat more or less.
I don't know. I think we just disagree. I do think that of course.
What do you think? And be honest.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Yeah, well, you're on the same couch. Okay, this is
No, this is
That's
a big
cheating.
thing. I usually, out of principle, to balance things out, side with the guest. So this is a big thing that I'm siding with you. But I do think I side with you in terms of I don't think it would make a huge difference in
I think we should be more sexual. I think we should look at primates and go like, look at what our inclinations are.
Right.
Do you see the primates? They seem to having a good time.
What are you
They're
saying?
fucking. I'm saying like
they have war. They have war.
They have war, sure.
And
And
they have
we've
rape.
done more than them, to be fair. We have done a much better job with what we've been given. But I'm saying that like when you, I think it's tough. It can be tough to talk about because it sounds like you might be endorsing something that I'm not. I'm just saying like I think all our views on sex are horribly repressed in a way where it squeezes out in other ways. There are these crimes and people cheating. I'm not just talking about just criminal or pedophiles here. I'm talking about people cheating, even though they have rules. I don't think rules change human nature. They just change the way it manifests itself. You could also, put an electric collar on everyone, and every time they look at another woman's titties, they get shocked. It's like, but is that a better society?
I don't know.
They might
I don't
be more,
know. That sounds kind of good.
Sure.
No.
But maybe you do.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
a part of you
think-
does have I do think some people have. I think. I'm trying to. I mean, it's dated at this point, but like when Mike Pence said he wouldn't have dinner with a woman if his wife wasn't there.
Yeah,
I'm like, I would
Muslim-
love to see my
Yeah.
girlfriend pretend like she doesn't think that's a fantastic idea. Because there's a part. I'm not saying she actually believes it, but there's a part of her being like, "Yeah, that would be great."
Right.
But I think that is fueled by envy, and a kind of envy that's worth addressing within yourself rather than trying to thrust it onto society.
Sure. Maybe. Is this going to be a video that says atheist destroys?
No,
Just
my
destroyed.
God.
That's what this is turning
okay.
into. Wait, can I need to destroy
Go.
you?
Yeah,
how,
go
how do
for
I
it.
how do I destroy you?
Well, how'd the first marriage work out?
Poorly.
Okay, so
How does that
you're,
do-
How long was it?
6 months.
6 months. And what was the like? Oh, this was bad. Like what was that?
It was
'Cause
the idea.
6 months is pretty quick.
Yeah, well, it was her decision. I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life.
Oh,
But I was 17. I was
Yeah.
a kid. She went to some camp over summer where she was a counselor.
that's so funny because I lost a
That
high school
is-
girlfriend from that.
is
You lost a
amazing.
wife.
I lost a
A
wife.
wife.
I lost the wife. Yep.
oh, she was a counselor.
She went, at this camp in North Carolina. She called me on the phone. She was like, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." And
And you know why? She just probably saw some guy she wanted to fuck.
absolutely, that's absolutely what
And that's
it
all
was.
it was.
Yeah, totally.
And you're so young.
Yeah, we're kids.
But I had a high school girlfriend, and
What'd you-
she was going to a summer camp where there was a counselor there that she had hooked up with the summer before, and I was in love with this woman so much, and I was like,
What was her name? You can't.
you know
share.
what? Early when I first started stand up,
You would share.
in college, I said some jokes on stage. Somehow it got back to her, and so now I'm very, but you
could have said anything.
She was my first like everything except for sex.
Oh.
And so I just remember the first time it was like the first sleepover even. It was all magical. It was like a magical period of your life. And I wrote her to send her off to camp. I wrote her a song, just the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I like wrote it on a paper star, and then I hung "I love you" in all these different languages. She was from Russia, so I had all these different languages. And I sent it with her.
So you just assumed she spoke every language.
She's from Russia. She knows one
I loved her
She must know them
internationally.
all.
Yes.
Every white language I translated "I love you" in, and I sent her to camp with it, and she never brought it up. And then, of course, within a week, you're in a cabin. I've been to camp. You're in a cabin.
Yeah.
You're in a cabin, and someone else, and you're both so horny, and you're like, oh, fuck it. So,
Camp makes you cheat.
Yeah, camp
makes you horny.
When's the last time you talked to her?
It's been 7 years, maybe.
Okay.
We broke up, and then we went to college, and we had already planned our classes together. So so we had like 3 classes together. It was brutal. Yeah, it was horrible.
you didn't. Okay, so she got back from camp.
Yeah.
Did you like have a walk? Did you talk?
No. I was a kid, so I was very angry. And she was a very mature person, so she was like, let's just not communicate.
I
Because
saw her
you're
calling on the
mean.
camp phone. Like, she's got 10 minutes before she has to go, and she's
my
delivering.
God.
I'm getting a
I'm getting
divorce.
a divorcing you.
I know. And yeah, the most dramatic part was that in Islam, to divorce a woman, you have to say, I divorce you 3 times in Arabic. Like, that's the official way.
Oh, you have to say it
3
Yeah,
times.
it's
Oh,
talaq.
that's so brutal.
So she was on the phone like, say the words. And I was like, no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How did your family take it?
My dad was kind of disappointed, but not. And my family's very chill. They didn't really care that much.
Okay.
They were. My mom was a little sad, but overall they were kind of relieved.
Real quick, I have to know.
Yeah.
On the phone, did you go like, I divorce you, and then you talked more, and then was it like Beetlejuice? Like you spread it
no.
out?
You have to do it 3 times
No,
in
you
a
have to
row.
do it 3 times in a row with intention and in Arabic.
How long did that phone call last before you said it?
God, probably like an hour and a half. It was a long one. 'Cause you know how it is when you're a kid, you're breaking up. It becomes like a court case. Like they have to
Yeah.
like give you all these reasons.
Well, when I was that age, I remember a girl broke up with me, and we had plans to go to like the beach 2 weeks after the fact, and I kept being like, "Well, we can't break up. We have plans to go to the
plans.
beach."
Yeah.
But finally, at the end of an hour and a half, you're crying on the phone,
weeping, snot coming out of my nose. She was crying too, for the record.
and you said it. What's the phrase? How do you say it?
Talaq.
At least they keep it short, so you can really
It's
bang
really
out all
easy.
3.
Yeah, I divorce you. Yeah.
Talaq, talaq, talaq.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was done.
That
and
is
then
brutal.
I wiped my snot away, and I grabbed my sister Danya, and I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy that night. That was the first time I was like dead. Like I'm gonna do it.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You had just been a fan up to that point.
I always I told everyone in school I was gonna do it as a lie.
Were the jokes funny
kind-
that night? Like
No, I didn't do it that
didn't
night.
go-
I didn't do it that night. I was
think
still
you
a
got a
kid.
headlining
I
spot
was still
back
a
in the
kid.
day?
you did like an open
You
mic.
called up
No, no, no,
governors
no, no.
like, "Hey,
I got a hilarious
Side
story for you
Splitters,
guys.
Tampa."
Yep. No, I did. I probably did it for the first time 6 months after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or maybe less than that, maybe 3 or 4. But yeah. Wow.
So-
that was a pivot for sure.
When did you get? Because it sounds like the religion was a little bit looser at this point. Did it become more intense? I mean, it sounded like, when did you
Yeah.
start praying? You said you didn't pray until your 20s.
I prayed
right?
when I was a kid, and then I stopped between probably 18 and like 24,
Around the
where I would
divorce.
pray a little bit, but I wouldn't. Yeah. And I went to college, started doing open mics, and I just got away from it kind of. I never drank. I've never drank alcohol. I've never smoked pot. I've never done anything like that. But yeah, I kind of became.
You
less
never
religious.
have?
Never have. No.
Any part of you wants to?
No, especially not with alcohol. Don't ever do
Why?
alcohol or weed. It just looks like a bad time. I know it looks fun on movies, but I've been around enough drunks. And I have a lot
you've
of
been
friends.
around stand-up. There's a happy version of drinking. There's
Yeah.
a happy version of pot.
Yeah.
Is there no argument to be said of like, oh, you see, it's like putting on a different pair of glasses. You're like, oh, what does it look like through red glasses?
But I'm very anxious. I'm an extremely anxious person.
So
and
am I.
Having any kind of alteration to my mind state.
you can do it slight though. You don't. You go extreme.
Really
I think
extreme,
people
man.
know, like, sometimes people just have a sense of what they could do, do you know what I mean?
Sure, but I can't see the harm in visiting it
No,
mildly.
I also know my personality. I have a really addictive tendency, like even like with nicotine. Like I
Yeah,
started smoking at
yeah.
18. It's been just a fucking struggle to get away from it.
And why is
forever.
nicotine allowed?
Because it doesn't inebriate the mind. Like it inebriates it within a vacuum, where like it makes you really want nicotine, but it doesn't make you punch people.
Do you think we could look historically and be like, this is why nicotine's allowed? It's because it was the main crop.
No.
It was the main. There's
You can look at it, but tobacco didn't come around until like the 1400s in South America. So no, it wasn't a part of Islamic history.
I feel like it's the same with like my girlfriend, she keeps kosher. It's not for the religious part, but like the thought of putting bacon in her mouth
Yeah.
is like at the text, all of it disgusts her.
Does she have turkey bacon?
Yeah, she has turkey bacon. And I've gotten her to like do oysters, and now she'll like have an oyster. Oh, wow. And it's still like, I don't think she like loves it, but she's like, but I think it's so great. I think it's so great to at least have tried it,
Yeah.
you know? I've tried being sober.
See, but here's the thing: if you don't have belief, then of course none of this makes sense. That's people. Non-believers are always so confounded by the rules and regulations of somebody who believes. But it's like, I believe God told me not to eat pork. Why would I do it then? You know what I mean? Like, oh, but don't you want to try things? No, I believe God. You know what I mean? Like, it's cut and dry. This makes me seem like a very unfunny person. Fuck.
It's okay.
No,
I
I'm
think
thinking about people watching this. Like,
it's rare to talk to someone.
God, I'm a good comedian. I'm a good stand-up comedian.
You are a very good stand-up comedian.
Nobody from
That's
this
why
could
we
tell.
asked you on the podcast.
No, I seem like a fucking conservative asshole.
No, but
I'm not.
You're
I'm a
a
socialist.
great comedian, and you're a cynical comedian, which is why
Right. Yeah.
I find it hard to fathom because I'm like, don't you poke your job, or not your job, but comedians, we poke holes in ourselves. We poke holes in society.
Yeah.
And how can you not turn this poker onto your faith and go, I mean, a million different things about faith. Why is there suffering in the world? Why? What about the people who didn't get the word from Muhammad, and so they've been eating bacon? That seems unfair.
It's fine. That's fine. They go to heaven.
Sure.
People who didn't get all of this is answered in Islam. I'm inviting both of you to convert, for the record. Everything,
you converted
everything in the religion is there. You can find an answer to all your questions. Why is there suffering? I can give you a million answers.
Okay, give me a quick answer. Why is there suffering?
Because of the Jews. No. No. Why is there suffering? Because these are things that are part of the test of being alive. And some people have harder tests. Some people have easier tests. You can't actually measure. You look at a billionaire. That's not fair. And for the record, I hate billionaires.
So
but
a child who gets cancer.
Yeah.
Didn't have it. Is a baby. Baby born with cancer. Why did they need to suffer?
why did they need to suffer?
Why are they suffering?
Well, here's the other thing: is that only Allah knows for sure. Only God knows for sure. But why could you come up with an understanding for why a baby would get cancer? This is a test on the parents. I know that sounds fucked up, but maybe that's what it is. Baby dies, goes to heaven. That's a lot better than living in the darkness of this life.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that satisfied you, Russell?
It should. It should.
Go get the, what is it called? The
Kofi.
The Kofi. Go get the Kofi.
What do you wear? You kind of got a. Oh, it's a headband.
It's just a headband.
Not quite
Hair's
a kufi.
long.
Not quite a kufi.
Okay. We don't have to get into the theology of it, but you got divorced.
You can. I don't care.
Is it cool getting to? Well, let me ask this: Did you want to marry another Muslim?
After her, no. After the first wife, I didn't care about anything. I only cared about stand up, and I dated girls. I did a lot of stuff that was. So I didn't drink, but I did date, and I did.
Can you look
have
at your
sex.
intensity of stand up and go, "Oh, I'm an intense person," whether it be religion, whether it be stand up?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. Whether or nicotine or coffee for that matter. Yeah. I'm very just I go into things.
So you fall in love with stand up,
Oh yeah.
and you're doing this at college.
Yeah. UF University.
Were you talking about the divorce at this point? Were you like going in
I
hard?
never talked about it because I couldn't find the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. And even now, I'm just now beginning to talk about it in the one-man show.
Yeah.
That's a part of why I'm doing the solo show is because I have a lot of things that are very funny, but stand-up as an art form doesn't allow you to be that strange.
Sure.
You know, you can be a strange character. You can be someone you can be like Daniel Simonson, who's just a fucking weirdo. Yeah. And that's just what he breathes and it oozes out of him. And then that's fine because anything he puts in, it comes out as a funny joke, right?
Yeah.
It's already weird.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like a semi-regular guy on stage who's got bits about being married or bits about a car or whatever, it gets weird if I start talking about personal stories that are that odd, you know? Like I got married at 17. Or if I did do it, it would end up being very flattened. On just doing it as like in a stand-up set in between bits about Joe Biden.
You'd have to take out so many.
Yeah, you'd have to take
like
out all
the
nuances.
I have like a bit about my dad's heart surgery that it took about a year and a half. It's now in a place where like I do it at the cellar.
Yeah.
But I had to take out so many things that I thought were interesting to explore.
Yeah.
Because there just wasn't a twist worthy of a
Right.
big pop.
Right. You need to be getting that laugh every 15, 45 seconds, like in that window. And if you're not doing that, then
Like I never got to
suddenly,
like a big part for me. Like Tova came, and this is Tova's her first time meeting my dad, And when we got in there, my dad, he needed to film an updated version of his will and testament with me sitting next to him, next to his girlfriend who's younger than me, and my sister on speakerphone. And my girlfriend is holding the iPhone.
Has to film
she
it.
just met my dad. And he's in the robe. And it was like, it was something so complicated about that. I have trouble on stage. I make my stepfather my dad all the time. Because
Right, of course.
for me to break it down, it's a nightmare.
You have to, everything has to be simplified in stand up because audiences have a short attention span and they're expecting jokes. So
I think the problem with the one-man show thing, I've seen enough one-people show where I go, no, this could have been funnier. No, this could have been tighter and still meaningful.
Yeah.
Or the reason I've never done one is I'm like, I don't think I have a message that I think needs to be a one-man show right now. Right. And a lot of times one-man shows, it becomes, because they're so personal, the moral undertone of it, it's about them being correct. I love stand-up because part of it's like, here's the fucked up thought that maybe I do think, but like we're in a comedy space. In a one-man show, sometimes you're like, well, of course you think this. Yeah, we all agree. We all agree. What's the moral? Be nice. What's the moral? Men need to take more accountability. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Right. I don't need to pay tickets to see it.
But that's why I'm excited about mine, is because everyone coming to the show, with the exception of pockets of Muslims who are fans or whatever, everyone else disagrees with me on just a core level. Like, they do not believe that Muhammad is the last messenger of God, So it is like, even if at the end of it they like whatever I said or agree with however I said it, they're like, yeah, but we're very different people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's like an immediate disconnection, which is something I've always struggled with as a practicing Muslim and comedian.
Do you get opportunities to perform for majority Muslim crowds?
Here and there. There was a few years there where I did a bunch of them kind of randomly, like Muslim.
Is it fun? Does it feel like, or is it just?
It depends. It's like everywhere, where sometimes you look in the crowd and you go, oh, there's a bunch of old people, and then it's a nightmare. And then sometimes it's young Muslims and you go, okay, I can get away with a little bit more. It's the same thing as any corporate. They all feel like corporate gigs. That's the thing. Every Muslim event feels like you're doing a corporate gig, and it's because they're usually paid for by some corporation, or some like Muslim fundraising organization, whatever. Yeah, they're not the most fun, but they can be. I have done some where I went, that was great. Like, I really got to say some wacky things that a non-Muslim crowd wouldn't have understood.
Is the circuit the same way like Elon Gold or Modi does, like a big Jewish circuit? Like, is that pathway paved at all?
Yeah, I think there's some of that paved already, but it's not quite where it is for, I think, Jewish comedians.
Yeah.
Or black comedians for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do want to talk. I really do want to have like a black comic on who's like really done. Like I did, I think it's called Chuckles, maybe. It was like in Tennessee. And it was like, oh, this is part of the circuit that, I know a lot of comedians, like we're doing similar clubs. We've probably crossed over a lot of clubs. But like, this is like a circuit that I was there very randomly, and it's a whole different world.
Completely different world. Yeah.
And
there are black comedians that are the most famous person in black world, that you're like, oh fuck, I've never heard of that guy.
It's like
it's kind of cool and also kind of sad because they all want to.
Of course, well that's
be mainstream.
Why you see the top 10 lists at the end of the year, and you're like, these are all white spaces. Even if it's not a white comic, it's like it's to not have Earthquake in these lists,
right? Exactly.
Is like,
that's a good,
and especially because they're always the really progressive type comedy critics and whatnot, and you're like, you're not actually going to black spaces or anything that's not.
Also, I feel like Hollywood has gotten so much worse about that over the last 5 years. They've gotten to this place where they put out the list every year, and I'm like, no one knows who that is outside of LA.
Sure,
no one cares about that comic outside of Bushwick. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just 10 of them in a row. You're like, that guy?
Yeah.
Really?
I feel that way about it, except for the one list that I was on.
Yes.
That one I felt was a true reflection.
Of course. That was a good list.
No, I haven't made most of those like lists. There was like a Vulture one. They get longer, and I'm like, keep them short because I feel worse.
Right.
It's like top 139 comedians on the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. How can I not make this list in my building?
Yeah.
So you're obsessed with stand-up. is it strange? I mean, stand up is such a like subvert. Who did you love? Did you like? I remember as a young, I had no religion growing up, but I do remember listening to late George Carlin. And like it was the time where this kind of thing could shake me. He was like, there never was a God. There's no God. There never will be a God. When you die, there's nothing. And it's just like this. Yeah, good impression.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa. Right. Oh, my heart.
Yeah.
You took
wait,
it
why
all.
would it affect you if you didn't already have religion?
Oh, because I believed in something. Oh. No different than I do now. Something. And this was like someone who was like smart.
Yeah.
And it was just very harsh. It was his later meaner years.
I don't love later Carlin. Or early,
yeah, but it was
early Carlin.
One of the things I hated in the documentary, this drives me nuts when you have like an atheist, where like sometimes they talk about, they're saying, well, but he also like believed he loved trees, so in a way he did believe in God. And you're like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Right.
He would fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
People do it.
Yeah, they do it.
I did a Pete Holmes podcast, and he'll do it sometimes where someone like professes a real lack of belief, and he's like, so in a way, you do believe in the God of there's no God. And you're like, okay, no.
Yeah.
But was it weird at all? Were you talking about being Muslim on stage?
Yeah. I talked about being Muslim, but
was there a lot in Florida where the college you went to? Like, was it?
No.
Okay.
It was me and a bunch of just drunk white people.
I feel like you, more than the average comic, just being a practicing Muslim comic, have been in so many spaces where you know that when you say you're Muslim, a huge swath of the audience goes, okay.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And like, it probably makes you a great, I think that kind of stuff can make you a great comic.
Totally.
Or it can be exhausting.
For sure. Well, it's only gotten exhausting more recently. I've felt it kind of.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just about to be 30, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm still having to explain very basic, or like I'm having to, dumb down jokes excessively to get to a place.
Yeah.
I don't know, but early on, to your point, I couldn't say Muslim. I had to say Muslim because crowds in North Florida would be like just flabbergasted at what I was talking about if I said it right. Like they truly wouldn't know what I was talking about for maybe 45 seconds. Like, I'm Muslim, so that means I don't drink. And then a friend of mine had to tell me, like, hey man, you have to say Muslim. Like, we don't know what you're saying. It sounds too weird.
I've never heard.
Is that just the Florida accent?
You've never heard Muslim before?
No.
Where are you guys from?
Upstate New York.
Yeah, where are you
Maryland.
from? Yeah, okay. There you go. You're not Southerners.
That's how they say it. Muslim.
Yeah, Muslim.
Muslim.
Muslim with a Z. Yeah, Muslim.
Muslim.
MAWZ. Mos.
Wow.
So you get really into stand-up. Did you move straight to New York?
No, I went to Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah. Laughing Skull?
Great. Yeah, Laughing Skull. That's my club.
You know Katie Hughes?
Yeah, I love Katie.
Yeah.
So
she's
funny.
opening for me this week.
She's great.
Yeah, we work together a lot.
She's really funny. Atlanta always has like a diaspora where 7 good comics move in 1 year, and then it's like, the scene's dead. But she's one of those people that's like still there and it's still fucking killing. She's so funny.
I'm trying to. She's moving to L.A.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
There you go.
Her, Catherine Blandford. I think they're both moving to L.A.
There it is. It happens every few years. Atlanta's got a great scene, though.
Yeah.
So that's why I moved. I graduated college and then I didn't know what to do. And a friend of mine, Jake Head, really funny guy, told me to move to Atlanta. I was there for 2 years, and then I moved to L.A. for 1, and then I moved to New York.
Have you been to Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm still trying to get a gig there. It's not the
Really?
easiest, not an easy headlining. It's
Right now, it's not.
Yeah, I'm figuring it out.
I mean, the Laughing Skull. It's so annoying that they don't book headliners because they used to book like Bamford and Mark Maher, and they were like an alt club, and I think it just became more economically viable to just do showcase shows. So that's all they do. But that would be a great room for you to headline. It's really fun. It's like 70 people.
Get there, Atlanta.
Do like 5 shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
What were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna ask when you met your second wife. 'Cause
Yeah.
we wanted to get into the current situation.
So we met like 7 years ago at a Steve-O show. I was opening for Steve-O at the Atlanta Improv, and she was in the audience and saw me and was like, just fell in love.
She was there for Steve-O.
Yeah.
Is he a good comic?
No. Horrible. But he's a
Horrible?
good guy. He's a good guy.
But like fun stories, charisma.
It's all charisma and stories.
Are we
from
talking about
Jackass.
Steve-O from
Jackass?
Jackass. Okay.
Yeah. The tasering his balls. And
How
stuff.
many Steve-Os do you think there are?
Listen, I just didn't know he did stand-up.
Steve
I didn't know.
Dashos.
I didn't know that he did stand up.
Was that you? Were you randomly assigned that gig, or
Yeah,
was he
totally random.
And you had a joke. I said it on this podcast, and I pretended it was my own. No, but about meeting your wife. Like you met her after a show.
Yeah.
And what does she say to you? Sometimes she says after a show, she's like, "Were there any like skanks after?"
Oh, she'll tell me before I leave for a show. She's like, "Don't talk to any dumb skanks after your set." And I'm like, "Well, that's how we met." So it's a little bit hypocritical, but that's a joke. I don't think she's ever seen me do. But
Really?
yeah.
Do you have Tova and I? She lets me get away with a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a couple things. There's a couple things that are no-nos. And that was new for me. I was very much, because I've been fortunate enough to have a family that has never given me any kind of pushback.
Yeah.
None.
So lucky.
Shockingly.
So lucky.
And to have it, there's an immediate like, I'm an artist.
I know.
I get to say the way your titties flop when you're lying down. Like
my
that's
God.
I'm just saying that's not what I say. I'm saying like there's a feeling of
Yeah.
like I experienced it.
Yeah.
So I get to say it. How
Right.
dare you step up, and it's usually for the worst fucking joke in the entire world.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there's definitely new stuff.
Yeah.
There's in my mind, I don't have like a fully finished chunk, but I'm like, if Tova left me
Oh man.
3 years after that, there would be a couple bits that I would never dare to think of doing now. That would be anonymous,
of course.
and it would be. I would never do like. I'm gonna take. Tova's gonna listen to this and freak the fuck out. I would never. It's not my goal to be like. I'm gonna like make sure people know this shit.
Yeah.
But it's more like emotional. It's more
Totally.
like there are emotional truths.
Yes.
That are so. I always thought it would be like I'd say something you would want me to say about you, but it's like no, it's the emotion.
Right.
Whether it's something from you or from me that like it would hurt
Yeah.
to have it be said in a way where everyone laughs at it.
You're logging things right now.
Yeah.
You're just kind of storing them, and that's dangerous for the relationship.
But I don't even put them into my Word document. I've gotten better at being like, let the thought pass. After the divorce, you will remember. You'll always remember the good bits. They'll come back in your mind. If they were good enough, they will reemerge.
I don't believe. Do you believe that? Because I think I look back at my old stuff sometimes and I go, I can't believe I forgot that bit, and I'll bring it back.
For sure. But
All the time that happens.
Sure, but sometimes I mean I get very anxious when I get stoned. My mind goes wild with ideas. I remember once I was getting like a massage and I took an edible before, and I had to fight everything within me to ask for a pen in the middle of this massage because I don't have a great short term memory. So I was like trying to like. There's a book called Moonwalking with Einstein about how to remember things. So I was like creating memory castles in my head of like put this bit here, put this bit there.
Oh my
I
god!
forget it all.
The worst massage of your life.
Yes, but I think a lot of them do come back. Maybe you won't remember.
Maybe.
But I think but of course I look through my materials sometimes and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you met her after a show. Was
Yeah.
it after the show?
No. She DM'd me after the show on Facebook. She Facebook messaged me. I saw your set. You were brilliant. I love your comedy. I'd love to see you some other time. And I was dating somebody at the time, so I was just very professional with her. And I was like, "Thank you. You can see me at Star Bar on Monday nights." and also, from my childhood, I have this like inclination of just thinking that no girl likes me ever. I never think a girl's into me. So I didn't think anything of it, but I friended her back, and then I just like
You friended her back.
She friended. So I guess how does it work? They friend
She
request
friend
you,
request.
and I accepted, and then I just like looked at her Facebook.
And did you have any nervousness of your girlfriend being like,
No,
this person
my girlfriend at the
messaged you?
time was very not into monogamy, so she eventually cheated on me, but she wouldn't have been jealous at all. So I followed the girl back. Who,
I like the idea that someone who cheats, they weren't into monogamy, as opposed to they cheated.
that's what she told me up front. She's like, I don't really like monogamy, and I was like, okay, this is gonna turn out well, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your head, did you go like, I'll change you?
I did, of course.
Of course.
I was like, she'll be monogamous for me. I'm
Right.
worth
Right.
it. I'm worth the whole just change of your entire innards. But yeah, so this girl, I friended her, and she was really beautiful, and I just like looked at her pictures all the time. And yeah, that's what I would do. I would hang out with my girlfriend, and then I would go in the bathroom and just like look at this girl. And then
being Muslim what's masturbation? What's the rules?
there's different schools of thought on it. And
Which school did you subscribe to?
I subscribe to the quite lenient one. There's some school. Most say you can't do it, and then one is like you can if you feel like you're gonna have sex with someone, just jack off instead. And so I was like, all right, I'll do that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So years went by, and then this girl, we had just kept sort of in touch very vaguely. You know, I'd like respond to a story on Instagram here. I'd like a picture or whatever. And then eventually I DM'd her, or she DM'd me, and was like, if you ever want to go out, I'm free. I'd like to go out with
After
you.
your breakup.
This was years later. This was
Years later?
This was 3 years later.
Was she coming to shows occasionally?
No. I had moved. I lived in New York at this time.
Wow.
I had moved, out of Atlanta years.
That's a
prior.
long time to stay in touch with
We were just kind of pining for each other. It was really cute. And she messaged me, and then I messaged her back, and I flew to Atlanta and went on a date with her.
Wow.
Yeah, romantic.
Wow.
A little romantic over
now
here.
at this
See?
point, were you having sex?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the
But I was
time.
saying without. So for that first date, did you fly? Did you have sex that first date?
No, not that first night. No, we hung out.
How long did you stay in Atlanta? Did you fly back the next day?
I flew back 3 days later. I did a weekend. I did the Skull. I did all the shows.
Sure,
And I brought
sure.
her around. She was like, "Oh my god."
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, the first time.
And then you got
Yeah,
married
yeah.
4 months later.
And then 2 months later, she was like, "I'm gonna move to New York." And I was like, okay. And then she moved to New York
Or was it just for you?
just for me.
2 months later.
Yeah. And
And
she's-
what's the you guys after you go to Atlanta? You guys are communicating back and forth a lot now.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Now we're like
but
dating.
Did you see?
kind of.
Did you see her in those 2 months before she?
Yeah.
moved?
We would see each other. We did the long distance for 2
Okay,
months.
wow.
And then she moved. And then 2 months after that, we went to the courthouse and got married.
Wow.
And then 2 months later, COVID.
So so
Wow.
why did
Pretty
you
crazy.
why get married so fast?
Well, as we've established, I kind of have problems with impulses, and I go a little overboard.
Sure.
in things.
So
So
it seems like she was on board too.
she was
like,
really into
really
it.
like
Yeah.
into it. you
By
know.
the way,
it's a whirlwind.
you talk about impulses with a great degree of like self-awareness and sobriety. Like if you were like, if Ian Finance was here, who's been on the podcast many times, and he was like, I struggle with impulses, I'd be like, I can tell, buddy. Like you got that dog in you, but
Yeah.
you're like, from time to time, I
got
am
dog.
overtaken with an impulse, and I'm like, why don't you just talk to yourself like you're talking to me right now and go, take a breath.
Listen, I think anyone
can't do it.
Flying anywhere for a first date.
Yeah.
that's he's got it. He's
A first date sight unseen. I could see flying if you were really attracted to someone and you knew there was chemistry and
Yeah.
you had shows.
Yeah.
And you had shows.
That, and of
It's
course, I
maybe
had
a
that
little
as my
less.
backup plan. Because even going to Atlanta, there was a part of me in the back of my head that was like, what if she's secretly very unattractive to me? Like, what if I see her for the first time in person and I'm like, there's like one of her eyes is weird.
Sure.
I had
Could
that.
be anything. Smell,
and
weird laugh.
smell.
Who
Exactly.
knows?
There's things that you just
I went on a date with a girl
cannot-
once, and I
Yeah.
remember we were at dinner, and she was like talking about celebrating. She was like, and I was like, and then I found I got a raise at work, and the way she did that,
Yeah.
I immediately was like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah.
And it's not fair to her.
I know.
It was just whatever it was. Everything about it said to me, we are not a
Was
match.
she hot otherwise?
I was attracted to her enough.
But I think you're in a different ballpark. You have a little bit more leverage, I think, because you're a tall man and you're attractive. You're a tall, attractive man. I'm not being totally serious. So you,
I
think
was an
there's a-
awkward-looking, gangly kid. I do not consider myself.
Go say it.
I think you and I completely equal playing field when it comes to
Absolutely
in the
not.
marketplace.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, now do me.
Our friend Chris,
Yeah,
I see him as above, even though he's short. I see him as
he's not that short.
But
Nah,
but
dude.
our friend Chris, he's the kind of guy where I'm like, he goes to the bar and he would leave, and the most gorgeous woman would leave with him. If I have anything going for me, I counter it with my whole personality.
That's outrageous.
It's not.
That's outrageous.
It's not. You know what? You know who hits on tall guys? The tallest women you've ever seen in your entire goddamn life. That's who hits on me.
No.
I should be a recruiter for the WNBA. That's who hits on me.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not a legs guy. I know some men are legs. My dad is a legs guy. He goes, she's got legs for days. I'm a butt guy.
Oh,
really?
I don't like how
I'm a
your
butt
voice
guy.
just.
I'm a butt. Well, if I see like a butt, I go.
Dude, let's have it just Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, what are you?
Yeah, I like butts.
Yeah.
Yeah, butts.
Butts.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
They are the things that because I feel
Yeah.
like it's too obvious to be tits guy. I mean, you know, who doesn't? But like,
Yeah.
It feels if that feels dirtier to notice, it feels more like lecherous to be like, you know, like, but like butts,
Right.
they'll catch your eye, you know,
For sure. And also any kind of tit, not any, but most kind of tits are good.
Exactly.
They're good. They're all
Exactly.
good.
Yeah.
They're all good
Yeah.
as long as they're there.
Yes.
I'm into it.
Yeah, you're so
but the
true.
butt, without the butt,
Yeah.
you need the butt.
You need the butt.
You need a nice big butt.
Yeah.
You need it tight. You need something happening
What were Muhammad's thoughts
on the butt.
on the butt?
I actually don't think he had. Well, you know, anal's off the table.
Is
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
that
Anal's off the
specifically
table.
says it?
It doesn't say anal, but yeah, yeah. There's no fucking of the erectum.
So you get married, COVID happens,
Yeah.
and
And then my dad died.
then your dad died.
Yeah.
COVID related or no?
No, he had kidney failure. But so marriage, 2 months later, COVID, a week later, dad died. And then lost job too. I was writing for Patriot Act with a Samanage, and it ended, canceled. So yeah, pretty rough 2 years.
Okay, so married. You said 2 weeks later, COVID.
2 months, yeah.
2 months later, one week later, your dad died.
Yeah.
And forgive me, did you feel it was coming? You knew things were bad.
Yeah,
or
we
was
knew
it-
he was sick for like 2 years, but
Okay.
he also was just kind of up and down.
Were
Yeah.
you close?
Very, not
Very.
very, but yeah,
Yeah.
loved him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're stuck in. Were you able to see him?
No, I had probably seen him maybe 7 months earlier.
So were you?
Oh no, actually it was sooner than that. I saw him in November, December, January, February, March.
Yeah.
4 months earlier. Yeah.
And then you hear he's ill. Did you think like I can't visit him? No one's allowed to do anything.
oh
right
no,
now?
he died suddenly.
He
so
died
he'd been
suddenly.
sick for 2 years, and then he died. He had like a heart attack and died.
I see.
Yeah.
And did you have any kind of service, or were you waiting post-COVID to do stuff?
No, we Islamically, similar in Judaism, you have to do it immediately. You have to do it within 3 days. So I flew down in the middle. The flight was $8 to go to Florida, to go to Orlando. It was an $8 flight. It was
$8.
amazing. Yeah, it was really cool.
Was this at a time?
This was
What is this?
March like
Oh my God.
15th.
20th or yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, 20th.
Yeah, because it was like 11th or 13th that New York kind of shut down.
Were you
Yes.
scared of COVID at this? This was back when COVID.
This was when it was like you wear a mask outside in the park.
Yeah, you don't know
when
how
there's
it
no
works.
one near you.
You're wearing gloves. You're
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Like there were we posted pictures of us in a park smiling, and then like my wife's caption was like, "We had masks in our back pocket." Haha. like that's how you were scared of public of people getting angry at you for being outside. So I wasn't scared in that moment though, because I was just you don't think about that. You're
Yeah,
like,
of
I
course.
just need to get down and take care of my mom and shit. So
How long did you go down for?
not long, like maybe less than a week, like 6 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your wife went with you.
Yeah, she came. Yep.
That's a lot. That's tough.
Yeah, it was
I
rough.
mean, I remember Tova lost a grandparent early on in our relationship, and it's a new level of a relationship. You have to engage your partner on it.
Yeah, I'm glad it happened to me and not my wife losing her dad, because I don't know if I would have been as good as she was. She was so good with that.
You'd be writing jokes.
Yeah, I'd be doing bits.
I wrote a joke about when Tova's grandma, who ended up dying, but when she first had a stroke, I was like, I'm really worried it's going to bring my girlfriend and I closer together. And I like built this chunk around, and there's a part of me. Tova's, again, that to my earlier point, that's not what upsets Tova.
Yeah.
But it's like, but there was a part of me I was like, it was one of those with some audiences were like, Jesus, dude, take this seriously for 2 fucking seconds.
I know.
So then
Talking about death is so hard.
It is.
Brutal.
Truly, and it feels
Brutal.
ridiculous that it's so hard.
It happens
because
to
it happens
everyone.
all the time, and it's I mean, it's just. I think it's a reflection of how happy or how well off our society is. Kind of.
I just
That
think it's
death,
more
like,
how we avoid
we avoid it. We
having
avoid
to
it.
think
we
about
can
it.
avoid it. We
Well,
can avoid it. I
that's-
feel like the rest
I
of the
always
world
say-
kind of doesn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, I always
know?
say that I love New Orleans, but a part of the reason I love New Orleans is it's so much more present. The death of like the celebration, the kind of like public thing of it, having those parades and things. It just feels like it's more a part of the society where it's a normal thing because you're like, but then
You've always struck me as someone who has a healthy relationship with death.
No, but I would like to have a healthier relationship with
Of
it. 'Cause
course.
it feels so daunting and scary and
Yes.
serious and like, we go and we're black and we're, sit quietly.
You know what might bring
and
you some comfort about death?
What?
The Prophet Muhammad.
Peace upon him.
No, well, it made me think. I was watching the other day Dragon Ball Z. It was about how they censored it when it came to America, and it was a very funny detail. No one was allowed to die, so they had to take all these. Destroyed.
I destroyed you.
And there was like some scene where like Vegeta blows up an airplane, and they added a voiceover going, "Oh, he has a parachute. Looks like he'll be okay." And I think about how that kind of thinking. Obviously, it's part of it is the comfort of this first world country, but also I think it's just like that's the MO. Just don't talk about it.
Yeah,
and it's
really
not good.
don't talk about it.
Not good.
Yeah. Because I've tried to do dead bits and they never work, or they'll get like that 5 out of 10, where you go, this will never get to the 10 at the best room. And it's like, God damn.
I've done it. So you go back. You have the funeral.
Yeah.
You go back with this marriage. Not to be flippant about it, but when did it get rough? I was surprised when you said you're back together because I saw you last Friday.
Yeah.
At Sesh Comedy Club.
We've been together. We got back together a month ago. Yeah.
And those.
I'm still
those
doing
new
the
jokes
divorce
were
bits. I'm still doing them.
It's
man.
hard if you got a good bit.
I know. I
And
got
you're
a
like,
few
and
good
you're like,
ones.
I can only use it for how long?
But here, I've actually
It
changed
feels weird after a while. Like I used to
Yeah.
have all these single bits, and then
Yes.
dating Tova, I would do them, and then one day you're like, it feels weird. At a certain point you're like,
I've changed it. I've changed it where now I don't say I'm divorced now, which was always a lie. We haven't done the official divorce yet. So now I say 3 months ago, me and my wife got separated. And that has the exact same effect where everyone's like, oh my God. But then when I'm ready to start talking about how we got back together, it's still, the door's open where it's like, and then we got back together and now I can do these bits about her.
Yeah.
I feel like if you see a stand-up comedian, you get to find out how they were doing 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did it get like?
It got bad. That year 2020 was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And we sort of just kind of I got distant because I was like, what am I doing? Am I depressed? I'm not doing stand up.
We didn't know if it would come back.
Yeah, I was like, it's done. I was like, it's firmly done.
I mean, losing your dad, your
Yeah.
job, and it feeling like the end of the world. I
Yeah.
imagine.
it wrecked it. It wrecked us. And also, she had just moved to New York and hates New York. She now loves it, but she hated it when she moved, and knew that she hated it. And then COVID was like the worst time to be in New
worst.
York. Just awful.
Seeing my friends in LA just going outside.
Yeah. Well, actually, I feel like LA had a weird time too. They really shut down.
They really
Like,
shut
more than
down.
us.
But like there was a time where it was like you're in a pool.
Right. Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
sunny. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had So we just kind of grew apart for like a couple years there, and didn't even really notice that we were just like cohabitating. We were like roommates, just getting through every day. Like the best part of our day was like sitting down and watching The Bachelor when it would come out, and then going about our separate lives.
I can't imagine. Tova and
was
I,
fucking brutal.
when my dad had his heart surgery, he had a quintuple bypass. I went down. I got COVID the next day. We were staying at my stepfather's house for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I had a painful case of COVID, and I was miserable. It was a very low point in our relationship, and that was 10 days. So
Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
Yeah, it was bad.
And then what was the thing of like, what was the, hey, I think we should
Separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of brought it up because I had sort of floated the idea a year prior of like, I don't know if this is right for us. And then it was, of course, very heavy, and we almost separated, and then we got back together. That was like one day. And then we talked about it more. And then a year went by, and she was like, I can just tell that you're like still on the rocks about this whole thing. And she sort of initiated the second go about. And then I was like, yeah, you're right, I am. And then we separated, and that was the recent time. And yeah, I went to Paris by myself right after because I had bought tickets to go with her. And I was just in Paris by myself for like a week. And I just was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here, man? Like,
were you walking around? And you can't drink, so you don't get that.
I was smoking so many cigarettes.
Yeah.
Which I had quit for like 2 years, and then I got to Paris. I was like,
were you doing like long walks? Just like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yes.
I had to go to France to do this
I mean,
walk.
yeah,
I could have done this in Central Park, really.
Yes.
No, but it feels
people would be
so-
mean to you if you
yeah.
were smoking in Central Park.
Uh-huh.
In Paris, they're all smokers.
Yeah.
I felt alive, and I also felt so low, and I just
Were you listening to music?
oh yeah.
What were you listening to?
Big Thief, Angel Olsen, just sad girl music.
Yeah.
Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I just came to the realization that like, okay, if we get divorced, then I'm immediately going to be back on the hunt looking for a girl. And the girl I want needs to be somewhat religious, but like, I don't want a super devout Muslim girl either, because I feel like that's going to be conflicted with everything you've been saying for the last 2 hours. And I'm like, I want somebody who's very American, because I'm pretty American, pretty, mainstream guy in a lot of ways. And also being a comedian makes you very American, because you got to be able to talk to audiences.
Yeah.
And I just like made a list of like what I want. And I was like, this is my wife that I have back in New York. And I was like, what am I doing? So then I
Did you write down this list?
did I write it down? I did.
Yeah.
It's not on my phone though.
Yeah.
Did you want me to read it to you?
No. It sounds like a very movie, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and her name
I like
is...
all those descriptors, and at the end it says "but." Bolded.
Okay, so things are... Have you ever gotten a couples counseling?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a big advocate.
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
Me
huge.
too. We went like a year ago for that when we were first having problems, and we loved the therapist so much that my wife was like, "Can I just have her?" So now she just has that therapist, and now we're not
Really?
doing couples therapy anymore because she kind of took her. But I have my own guy now.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's funny.
I have a joke,
little
the opposite,
fucked
where
up.
I say couples counseling. First, I tried to get I wanted to use my therapist because he already knows what's wrong with her.
Right.
But
I've
like
seen that bit.
the opposite, you got to talk. Do you talk about it on stage?
About what?
Just the idea of like your girlfriend taking the couples counselor, because in a way, then she gets to
that is
go
funny.
and like gets to experience the couples counselor just being on her side.
Yeah.
Because that's what a therapist, ultimately
Yes.
they're your advocate.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that's nice about couples counseling is to go to someone who truly is not taking
Neutral.
sides.
Yes.
I mean, it's worth its weight.
Dude,
in gold.
if any guys,
And that's
listen
what
to
they
this,
charge us.
Do you think any guys listen to this, or is it all just girls who think you're hot?
I think a lot of gay guys who think I'm hot too.
There you go.
They're gonna
There
love
you go.
this episode. I'm sure they got all the way to this part.
Oh man, I'm gonna get some fucking hate for this, but yeah, I think being a guy in couples counseling is great because you go in and there's like this expectation that you're gonna be a piece of shit who doesn't
Yes.
care,
Yeah.
but then all you have to do is just be somewhat reasonable, and you come across as like, I'm a fucking genius at being in this relationship.
I think.
That's so funny.
I mean, again, I fear that this is a misogynistic comment, but I feel like, especially with women sometimes crying,
Yeah.
becomes the crying starts, and then the crying and the dealing with the crying becomes the dominant issue,
Right.
and nothing else gets talked about. And in couples counseling, it's like the couples counselor is going to be like, "Oh no, it's okay, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
couples," and I'm sure there's other ways where I get heated. There's the male equivalent of
Right.
like getting yelly that the couples counselor neutralizes, but
Right,
that's
getting hitty, yeah.
That's why it just feels so. I want to go to couples counseling for our friendship. I think
told
there
you
needs
I
to be a
would.
That's
friendship
the
counselor.
future. That's gonna be
That could be a
thing.
Patreon episode.
I'll do it. I don't care.
Is this a Patreon episode?
No.
Fuck.
You gotta love it when people come on the podcast. They're like, no one's gonna hear
No
this,
one's
right?
listening
Like,
to this.
yeah,
right?
but that's ultimately the goal.
yeah.
All right, let's go into our next segment real quick.
This has gotta stop.
This has got to stop. Do you have something that needs to stop?
Yeah. Okay, I love the service industry. I've worked in restaurants. But when a waiter brings the check, stand there for 5 seconds.
Oh, I like
I
this.
can pull my debit card out really fast. And that drives me crazy. They come, they put the book down, then they're a ghost. They're gone. and it's like, I was right about to give it to you. And I have to wait 15 minutes for you to fucking do a whole thing. Do all your shit with my card in your little thing. Like, why you gotta leave it there, man? It takes me a second
At the
to pull
seller,
it
I
out.
give to get the check. I offer the card.
I think it's
I've
more
gotten better.
frustrating
Now
when
I just have
pull
it in
out.
my fucking hand.
Yes, you
Yeah.
pull it out, but sometimes it's still they throw it and keep going, and you're like, no, I was ready. I was waiting. I'm ready. I'm so. By the time they give the check, you've already been ready for 15 minutes. So you're
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I can't. This is
And you got a pathetic
that's
thing where
my
you-
least favorite thing. Delaying an experience 30 to 35 minutes when you are like
I'm
the
so
moment you're done
ready to
eating,
go.
I'm done. I gotta get out of here. You know what I mean?
And you do that
done.
pathetic thing where you put the booklet up and you put the credit card
Yes,
in there,
you
like
try
a
to do
little,
all these
like a
things.
little.
You put a little candle underneath it to like
Yeah.
really highlight that like
Smoke
look at this,
signals.
It's ready. It's ready.
That's a very good
I
one.
hate that.
Yeah,
Just take it.
that's a good one.
Just take it.
Just take the card.
It'd be funny if all our discuss stops the things about the service industry that they need to fix it up. All right, our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. We've been plenty negative here. Let's say one thing that we are thankful for. Russell,
You go first.
do you have one? I got to pull up the name really quick. Fuck. Okay, so I was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Steel Stacks, great show. And the booker took us to a restaurant called Bolette, and like top 10 meal of my entire life, right out the
way.
gate. Farm to table, like a simple menu. You ordered 2 mains, and it also, like what he did, he's vegan. You can say to them, make me a vegan dish with beets, and they will do, and they call it a dealer's choice. And the chef is so good that they would make you, you could say beets and red meat, and they make you a dish inspired by beets and red meat, and an incredible concoction. One of the best meals I've ever had in my life, and it felt like, did you see the menu? Weird, but it was the closest I've ever gotten to that. The servers were cool. They didn't try to kill us.
Yeah.
But like, it felt so fresh. The meals were complex. And especially when you're on the road, I like to do one thing that feels like, oh, I could have only done this in this place.
Yeah.
And this meal, like, it satisfied it
Wow,
in
yeah.
every way possible. And I want to go.
Can't get vegan food in
It's
New
not
York.
far from here. And like, I was like, I want to do a live podcast here so that I can go to this meal with my friend Nicole, and Nicole can bring you.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
it was so good.
I'll stick with the food. I had one of the most incredible meals of my life in the last 2 weeks in New Orleans at a place called Saint Germain. Incredible 10-course kind of thing. And it was the experience.
Yeah.
Like 4 courses at the bar. They're taking care of you. They're blah, blah, blah. And
You move locations.
and also and what was great too is like it's a small place. There's probably like 15, 20 people eating while you're there. And Emerald comes in, because he's from New Orleans. He come in, and there was no sort of, the chef didn't feel like there's any sort of like weird pressure. He was giving our table so much attention and so personable, and Nicole literally cried at one of the dishes. It was that good. It really was so good.
No, show me what kind of crying are we talking about? Like,
Does she cry
just
often?
like
No, not like
I've never seen her
an
cry.
audible cry, but like a tear in the eye, kind of.
as she ate, so she like,
Oh, real? Wow.
like it was that good. It was like this bison tartare thing with a béarnaise. It was
that's
just so good.
amazing.
But
That's
it was
amazing.
an amazing experience meal. The only thing that sucked was our table got shushed by like an old lady at one point, and that like I saw red. I was like, I really had to like,
Yeah.
like, I was like, I hate.
Was she shushing you or Nicole?
No, it was my friend Adam laughed. It was laughter. It was joy. It's like that thing of like, and it was a Friday night dinner at 8:30 p.m. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we were, and it was like they're playing music. It's not a quiet place. Like it was not like, it just was like they had just sat down and they weren't in like. 30 minutes later, I could see she had a drink. She'd calmed down. She was trying to show us that she wasn't a bitch, but she was. Do you know what I mean? Like she was taking pictures with like, she was like offered the two lesbians sitting next to her. She's like, I'll take your photo. And I was like, no. You're not going to prove that you're some sort of nice person. You're a fucking
She's like,
bitch.
how do I make this up? Oh, those two lesbians over there. I'll offer to take a picture of them.
But it was that, because I could tell I was talking loudly too. I was so mad when she shushed. I was like, what the fuck? Like I was, that is a thing for me. If being told to like.
A shush is rough.
A shush is, it's so
do it.
aggressive.
What kind of, do it.
She did this. This is what she did. Exactly. Ready? Someone laughed. She goes, shh, like that. Like insane.
Oh, I would have a problem with that.
So insane. It was like, I was like, I'm going to say something on the way out. And then I was like, no, just let her be this way.
Wow.
I mean, there's no way.
What were you going to say on the way out?
There's no way. I wouldn't have been crazy and called her the C words. I mean, I would have been like, I probably would have been like, hey, I would try to be honest. Like, hey, your shushing was very rude. And it really dampened one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. It really was a very rude, kind of aggressive thing that kind of spoiled our evening.
Okay, I'm going to be her. Start your speech.
Yeah. Hey, fuck you. Just flip her table. Anyways, so I didn't mean to get into that, but the meal was
good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have a blessing to share?
Yeah, there's this place. We're talking about restaurants. There's this place on Atlantic called Hadramaut. That's a Yemeni restaurant that is amazing, and it's open 24/7. You can go in at 4 a.m. and there's a little boy in pajamas as a waiter, and it's all a family-run affair, and it's just the best food. Hadramaut.
I will go there.
Go there. It's really good. It's really good.
Your thing shut off.
That's okay. Let me scoot in next to you. All right, so this episode is coming out February 21st.
Oh, perfect.
Is there anything you'd like to plug, Ismael?
Yeah, my Instagram is Ismael Comic, Ismael Comic. You can DM all the hatred there. And then I'm going to be in Milwaukee at the Laughing Tap on March 10th and 11th. And I'm also going to be in Sunnyvale, California, March 30th through April 2nd at Rooster Teeth Feathers, headlining those clubs.
Amazing. I will be Springfield, Massachusetts, February 25th and 26th at Roar. Oh, sorry, February 24th and 25th at Roar Comedy Club. And then, big one, March 2nd through 4th, I'll be at Mike Drop San Diego. I think it's like 5 shows. And then after that, baby, I'm going to Aruba Rays. I'll be in Aruba.
Oh, nice.
And then finally, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, March 11th. At City Steam. And just a reminder, join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. I'm pretty sure by now we will have our 5th live episode up there with Aaliyah Janine about the downsides of working in the adult entertainment industry. You get old bonus episodes, our AMP Live Amazon episodes, all our live episodes. We're about to announce a new guest for our February live show. Links to everything down below. But join the Patreon. Even if you don't want to listen to the extra shit, it's a good way to support this podcast. Patreon.com/downside. Russell.
Yeah.
Plugs. Come see Titanic, the musical, off-Broadway at the Joe Roth Theater 8 times a week. And DM me if you're coming. Let me know you're a Downside fan.
What about the code, right?
Well, yeah, DM me if you're going to come, and I'll give you a little friends and family discount code.
Yeah. But they're going to DM you saying, hey, I bought tickets. And you're going to give them the code after the fact?
No. Okay, so DM me if you want to come see Titanic, the musical, and I will give you the promo code.
All right. I was going to wrap it up. I had an idea of the way to wrap it up. Guys, just do it in the ass. This is the Downside.
Yeah, have fun.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.